Okay, I'm sharing screen now. For today, we will be focusing on synthesis and transformation. I think for Yushen is your first lesson with us. I think it's your trial, right? Yushen, maybe you want to share with us which school are you from?
I'm from Yiming Primary School.
In primary school. Okay, great. Okay, maybe just a little bit of introduction of myself. I think for Cheryl and Jera, I'm not sure whether I've told you that before, but basically my background is that I was a secondary school English teacher. I was teaching at St. Hilda Secondary. But I've also been giving primary school students English tuition for almost 12 years. So that's basically my background, okay, where I came from. Yeah. Um, and of course, I think you can see from my name. Okay, you can just call me Teacher Shirley or Miss Shirley, that's fine. Okay. For this class, I think it's relatively how long has it been? I think I've been taking this class for quite some time already. Yeah, Cheryl and Jared just joined also. So I think just joined recently. So I think you might not know about me. I don't remember introducing myself to you guys as well because I think you all joined midway, right? Okay. But anyway, how we do things here is that we will cover different components every week. Okay, so what are your components of your PSLE English paper? You have 4 papers, right? Paper 1, 2, 3, and 4. Paper 3 is oral. Paper 4 is listening. Paper 1 is writing, okay, which comprises of your situational writing as well as your continuous writing. Then you have your paper 2, which covers all your different components, like, for example, grammar, MCQ, vocabulary MCQ, closed passage, comprehension, synthesis, and transformation. Okay, so what we do here is that every week we will focus on one component because it's impossible to cover everything in one lesson. Okay, so for today, we will be focusing on synthesis and transformation, particularly okay, because we rotate, right, amongst all the components. So for today, for synthesis and transformation, that's the section, that's the component that we're covering. But particularly, we're going to talk about how to use certain connectors to demonstrate choice. Okay. There are many different connectors and conjunctions, but just today we are focusing on how do we indicate choices using connectors. Okay. So that's what we're going to cover. That's our learning objectives of today. Now, in terms of house rules, I think since Yushin is new, Jared and Cheryl, they are relatively new. I think you've just joined recently. So I'm just going to go through very quickly, okay? Not going to spend too much time on this. So I think all 3 of you are doing a great job, okay? Turn on your video, mute your microphone. The reason why you need to mute your microphone is because there will be a lot of, sounds if all of you were to unmute your microphone, okay? Use the chat function if you have any questions. You can just click on chat icon up there somewhere for your Zoom, and then you can just type in your questions. But of course, if you have something really urgent that you need to ask, you can always raise your hands and wait for the teacher's permission to unmute yourself. Okay? If you need to go to the toilet, just ask, or if you're shy, you can just type in the chat. Okay, I will allow you to go for sure. Okay, because I understand you need to answer to nature's call. But of course, in the 1.5 hours lesson, I don't expect you to be going to the toilet too often as well. Yeah. And lastly, I think it's just to be mindful, to be respectful to everyone here, not just the teacher, but also to your fellow friends over here. Okay. Okay, so we will start with grammar MCQs. Okay, I know some of you did your homework, some of you did not. Okay, now, first question, Lim Chua was disappointed that he came in the 50-meter swim race. Yes, Cheryl.
Last.
Very good. Okay. He came in last. Now, there are, of course, if he was disappointed. Oops, sorry. Wait, hold on. What happened? Yeah. Technical error. Hold on a second. Yeah. Are we good? Let me see. Okay, so of course, if he was disappointed, the context tells us that he was disappointed. So definitely not first or firstly. Okay, firstly and lastly, they are actually adverbs, and adverbs tells us a bit more about the verb. Okay, so in this case, adverb, he came in what? In something. Okay, so in this case, instead of an adverb, we should be using a noun, right? So, or an adjective. Okay, so he came in last. In this case, he came in last, right? So this one basically is considered an adjective. So do you came in first? Do you came in last? So this is an adjective. Okay, so in this context, it shouldn't be an adverb because it's not really telling us more about the verb, right? So it will be an adjective because it's more of like a descriptive. Yeah. So if you're last means like you come after all others in terms of time and order. Okay. Came in. Okay. You came in after everyone in terms of time and order. Okay. So you came in last. Yeah. Okay. Now, next question. His dad was what? Furious when he lost his mobile phone. Okay. Firstly, what's the meaning of furious? If I say someone is really furious, so what does the word furious mean? Yes, Yushan.
Furious means angry.
Yes, okay. Basically, furious means extremely angry, not just a little bit angry, right? Like if you are a little bit angry, sometimes the degree is like, okay, I'm just a little bit bothered. I'm bothered by him. But in terms of furious, I think there's always an intensity to it. Okay, so furious basically means he's extremely angry when he lost his mobile phone. So therefore, the word that comes with it, okay, should be, which one do you think it is? Is it just quite furious, very, total, or complete? Yes, Cheryl.
Very.
Very. Yeah, because very basically means that it is in high degree. Okay, in high degree. So usually we use the word very to indicate something that is, extremely is very large amounts or exceedingly, exceptionally. So that's very. Of course, if it is quite, then the intensity is not there, right? Quite is just mostly, absolutely to a certain degree. So there is a difference here, you see. Quite is to a certain degree, right? Whereas very is to a high degree. Okay, and quite and very are actually what we call adverbs. So adverbs tells you a bit more about the verb. The verb is was. So how was he? He was very angry. So adverb, all these two are actually adverbs. They tell you a little bit more about the verb was. So how was he? He was very, right? Very angry. Now, in terms of total, it doesn't fit the context because total is actually can be either an adjective, a noun, or a verb. So like I said, this one can't be a verb because we already have a verb here, right? And this one is actually an adjective. We don't put two adjectives beside each other. Okay? Then of course, we can sometimes have nouns behind verb. That's fine. Okay, but in this case, it just doesn't fit. So this is out as well. Okay, total, like absolute. Total means the whole number of something. So it doesn't fit the context at all. Yeah. Then of course, complete. Okay, complete basically means it's the same as similar to total. Okay, complete can either be an adjective or a verb. So same thing, since it's in an adjective or a verb, both of them cannot fit into the sentence because it shouldn't come, a verb shouldn't come after another verb. Okay, complete means you have finished doing or making something, yeah? So in this case, it's very angry. Okay, now question 3. My daughter's results are what? But she will try to achieve even better results next semester. My daughter's results are... Now, all these 4 words come from the root word satisfy. Okay, but in terms of word form, in terms of their grammatical form, they are actually quite different. Okay, so when we talk about satisfy, it is actually a verb, right? When I say, I like to satisfy, I have never been satisfied with my job. Okay, so satisfy means it's a verb, it's an action. So like I said, are is already a verb. We don't usually have verb after verb. Okay, so satisfy is basically to meet the needs or the desires. Okay, meet the needs or desires of someone. You want to satisfy someone, you just want to meet the needs and the desires of someone. Okay, now in terms of satisfied is actually an adjective. Okay, so satisfied is actually an adjective. In terms of satisfied, we will... Depends. Actually, satisfied can come after a verb, but does it fit the context? My daughter's results are satisfied. So that means the subject becomes the results, because satisfied is more like an emotion. Do you think her results can feel something? Is it a human? Her results, can the results feel satisfied? Yes or no? No, right? So because satisfied is an adjective, and this one, if we were to put satisfied, then it becomes the results. Okay, her daughter's results is the subject. And we are saying that the subject is satisfied, but it doesn't make sense, right? Because the subject is not a living thing. It doesn't feel anything. It doesn't have emotions. Okay, so in this case, it should not be satisfied either, because like I said, the results is not living thing. It cannot feel contented. It cannot feel pleased. Okay, so this is also out, because satisfied is more of an emotion. When you're satisfied with something, right? You're pleased, you're contented with something. Okay, so what about option C, satisfying? Okay, satisfying, on the other hand, it can have a few word form. It can be an adjective. Okay, like I can say, oh, this food is so satisfying to eat. So it can be an adjective. Okay, satisfying can be an adjective, right? When you're describing the food, is the food, like for example, the eggs benedict is so satisfying to eat. Okay, so that is a description. Okay, but of course, satisfying can also be a verb. Why? Because it can be the continuous verb, right? It can be a continuous. Okay, maybe I just want to be a bit more specific. It can be a continuous verb. Okay, like for example, I enjoy satisfying the needs of my family. So I enjoy satisfying, so that becomes a continuous verb. Okay, so in this case, satisfying, not really. Okay, and then of course we have the last one, which is satisfactory, which is also an adjective. Okay, and usually satisfactory is referring to more of objects than people, or who have feelings. Okay, so in terms of satisfactory, I think it will better fit the context, because satisfactory is an adjective. It basically describes reaching expectation. Okay, reaching expectation.